in the heart of an unassuming town named Hollow's End, a legend whispered through generations told of a realm beyond the veil, a place where shadows danced and reality twisted. It was said that those who ventured too close to the old abandoned mansion on Blackwood Street could hear the whispers, a soft, eerie calling from the shadow realm. One crisp autumn evening, a group of curious friends, Evelyn, Marcus, Lila, and Jake, decided to test the legend. Armed with flashlights and a sense of daring, they made their way to the mansion, its towering silhouette casting a foreboding shadow under the pale moonlight. The air grew colder as they approached, the trees seeming to shiver with anticipation. "Ready?" Marcus asked, his voice barely a whisper. The others nodded, their breaths visible in the chilly air. The door creaked open with an eerie groan, revealing a grand hall frozen in time. Dust motes floated in the dim light, and cobwebs draped over forgotten furniture. The friends stepped inside, the floorboards creaking under their weight. As they explored, the temperature plummeted, and a faint whispering began to fill the air. At first, it was barely noticeable, like the rustling of leaves. But as they ventured deeper into the mansion, the whispers grew louder, more distinct. It was as if the shadows themselves were speaking, luring them further into the darkness. "Evelyn, did you hear that?" Lila asked, her voice trembling. "Yeah," Evelyn replied, her eyes darting around. "It's coming from the basement." Against their better judgment, they descended the creaky stairs into the basement. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. The air was thick with an oppressive darkness, and their flashlights flickered as if struggling to stay alive. In the center of the basement, they found an old, ornate mirror. Its surface was clouded and cracked, but it seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. As they approached, the whispers became a chorus of voices, beckoning them closer. "Evelyn, be careful," Jake warned, but Evelyn was already reaching out to touch the mirror. The moment her fingers brushed the surface, the room was plunged into darkness. The flashlights went out, and the friends were enveloped in an inky blackness. The whispers became a cacophony, filling their minds with chilling promises and terrifying secrets. "Evelyn!" Marcus shouted, but there was no response. Suddenly, a pale, ghostly figure emerged from the shadows. It was Evelyn, but her eyes were vacant, and her movements were unnatural. "The Shadow Realm welcomes you," she said in a voice that was not her own. Panic set in as the friends tried to escape, but the shadows seemed to come alive, grasping at them with cold, clawed hands. The whispers became screams, and the friends were separated, each pulled into a different corner of the basement. Jake found himself in a labyrinth of twisting corridors, the walls shifting and changing around him. Lila was trapped in a room filled with mirrors, each reflection showing a different, horrific version of herself. Marcus was caught in an endless loop of memories, reliving his deepest fears and regrets. As the minutes turned into hours, the friends fought to find each other and escape the clutches of the Shadow Realm. They realized that the only way to break free was to confront the whispers to face their own inner demons and fears. Jake faced the shadow of his guilt, Lila confronted her self-doubt, and Marcus battled his regret. With each victory, the shadows weakened and the whispers faded. Finally, they found Evelyn, who had been consumed by the darkness. With their combined strength, they pulled her back from the brink, and the mirror shattered, releasing a blinding light that banished the shadows. The friends found themselves back in the grand hall, the morning sun streaming through the broken windows. The mansion was silent, the whispers gone. As they stumbled out into the daylight, they vowed never to speak of the shadow realm again. But the memory of that night would forever haunt them, a reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the veil of reality. Sure thing. Here's the continuation of Whispers from the Shadow Realm. Days turned into weeks, and life seemed to return to normal for Evelyn, Marcus, Lila, and Jake. But the experiences they had in the Shadow Realm lingered in their minds, creeping into their thoughts and dreams. Night after night, they found themselves unable to shake the feeling that they were being watched, that the whispers might return at any moment. Evelyn, especially, was haunted by vivid nightmares. She would wake up in a cold sweat, the echo of the whispers still ringing in her ears. She started researching the mansion and its history, desperate to understand what had happened to them. One evening, as she pored over old newspapers and dusty tomes in the town's library, she stumbled upon a chilling discovery. The mansion had once belonged to a wealthy occultist named Aleister Blackwood, who was rumored to have delved into forbidden rituals and dark magic. It was said that he sought to open a gateway to the Shadow Realm, hoping to gain unimaginable power. But something went wrong, and Blackwood vanished without a trace, leaving the mansion abandoned and cursed. Evelyn shared her findings with her friends, and they realized that their encounter with the Shadow Realm was no accident. The mansion had been a conduit for Blackwood's dark experiments, and they had become unwitting participants. Determined to put an end to the whispers once and for all, the friends decided to return to the mansion. This time, they were armed with knowledge and tools to protect themselves: salt, candles, and symbols of protection. As they entered the mansion once more, a sense of dread washed over them, but they were resolute. They made their way back to the basement, where the shattered remains of the mirror lay. The air was heavy with an oppressive silence, as if the shadows were holding their breath. Evelyn led the way, holding a candle aloft and chanting a protection spell she had found in Blackwood's old journals. As the flames flickered, the shadows began to shift and writhe. The whispers returned, but this time, the friends were ready. They formed a circle around the broken mirror, pouring salt to create a barrier and lighting candles to banish the darkness. "Evelyn? What now?" Marcus asked, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. "We need to close the gateway," Evelyn replied. "We have to perform the ritual that Blackwood started, but we must finish it properly." Following the instructions from the journal, Evelyn began to recite the incantation. The shadows roiled and the whispers grew louder, but the friends held their ground. As the ritual neared its climax, a dark figure materialized before them. It was Aleister Blackwood, his eyes burning with malevolent intent. "You dare to meddle with forces beyond your comprehension?" Blackwood's voice echoed through the basement, his form flickering like a dying flame. "We're here to end this," Evelyn said firmly. "You opened the gateway, and now we're closing it." With a final, desperate effort, Evelyn completed the incantation. The room was filled with a blinding light, and the shadows shrieked in agony as they were banished. Blackwood's form dissolved into nothingness, and the whispers faded into silence. The mansion seemed to exhale, the oppressive darkness lifting as if a great weight had been lifted. The friends stood in stunned silence, the reality of what they had just accomplished sinking in. As they left the mansion for the last time, they felt a sense of closure and relief. The Shadow Realm had been sealed, and the whispers were no more. But the memory of their ordeal would stay with them forever, a reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the veil of reality. They vowed to keep the story of the Shadow Realm alive, not as a warning, but as a testament to their courage and resilience. And though the mansion would remain abandoned, its secrets hidden away, the friends knew that they had faced their darkest fears and emerged victorious.